Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live, and this week's roundup of orchestral and ballet live streams for the week of October 13th to October 20th. We're already in the middle of October. Who can believe it? It seems to me like just the other day we were talking about all the summer festivals and all the live streams going on there. But here we are, and this week, it's exploding already. I mean, I'm just working on the orchestral and ballet roundup today, and we're full up. And I haven't gotten to the chamber music yet or the organ recital, so it's going to be a full week of live streaming. When it comes to orchestral and ballet works, we've got live streams from Bournemouth to Boston, from Moscow to Detroit. We've got top soloists like Janine, Jansen, and Helene Grimaud, who's absolutely fantastic. We've got top conductors like Sir Mark Elder and Sir Simon Rattle. And we have ballet, full-length ballet coming to us from the Vienna State Opera on Sunday. And earlier in the week, there's the ballet music from Khachaturian's Giselle. It's a full week of what we call big stage productions here at Access Arts Live. So let's get into it right away. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn. And we'll continue to make sure you get more than 1,000 live streams of high quality performances online in the coming year. How about that? Nobody else can make that claim. Nobody, just us. Okay, so let's move on to the first of this week's, which I think is going to be on Wednesday. Coming from Bournemouth, I'm pretty sure. Could be mistaken. I make mistakes all the time, folks. But yes. You can enjoy a violinist of eye-popping virtuosity, in demand for her savage, bold, dramatic playing, as Christine Balanas joins Bournemouth to take on Sibelius's Violin Concerto in D minor, Wednesday, October 15th. It's a full concert with a lot in it. It's at 8:30 in the evening, European time, and the rest of the times they'll be listed in the description. They'll be doing Bach's Fantasia and Fugue in C minor. They'll be doing Sibelius's Violin Concerto. Then they'll be doing Suk's Meditation on the Old Czech Chorale, Saint Wenceslas, which was composed for string quartet, but they're doing it orchestrally. That's Opus 35A. And then they'll finish up with Respighi's Vetrate di Chiesa, which is called in English Church Windows. The conductor is Hungarian. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that I have my ducks in a row here. It's Gergely Madaras. There, I said that right. And he's not unfamiliar to the Bournemouth Symphony. He was conducting Grieg and Sibelius with them in February in a live stream, which we told you about. You see all these people if you subscribe or if you follow Access Arts Live. You see all the conductors, all the soloists, all over the world. It amazes me. Anyway, he is, since 2019, he's been the music director of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra of Liège in Brussels. Does a lot of broadcasting besides live streaming on Mezzo TV, on Medici TV, and on other sources like that. He used to be with the Dijon Orchestra in France, in Bourgogne. He used to be the chief conductor of the Savaria Symphony Orchestra in Hungary. And he does a lot of opera conducting as a guest conductor with the Dutch National Opera, La Monnaie in Brussels, the Dijon Opera, the Hungarian State Opera. So a dramatic guy. The soloist, Christine Balanis, the things I was saying about her were quotes from the Times of London and the Strad. And she started out, she's Latvian, she started out as a street musician along with her sister and a rock singer in Latvia. And, you know, they were playing in the street to finance their classical music education. But now she plays with top orchestras and chamber ensembles across Europe, in Asia. She's got a new recording contract with Decca. So this should be a great concert. And then we move on right away to Thursday. So we only have that one offering for you on Wednesday and nothing earlier in the week, Monday or Tuesday. But we stay fairly up in Northern Europe. Maestro Masaaki Suzuki rejoins the Lahti Symphony Orchestra Thursday, October 16th, to conduct Mozart's Little G Minor Symphony and Schubert's Great C Major Symphony, bookending two Viennese composers across the centuries. That's the musicological idea of putting those two pieces together. I'm very happy. This is the first time we're cluing you in on a live stream by the Lahti Symphony Orchestra, but they do live stream regularly, so you'll be hearing more from us about them as this season goes on. We're always happy to add a new content creator. They really love Masaaki Suzuki. At Lahti, he was with the Sao Paulo Symphony Orchestra, though, back in mid-August, conducting Beethoven Piano Concerto and Stravinsky's complete ballet Pulcinella. So there's a lot of ballet, references to ballet this week. Anyway, Symphony number 25 by Mozart was the first time that he sort of ventured away from writing light courtly music and composed this piece in a minor key. So it was a big deal at the time. Schubert, sadly, his ninth symphony was never played while he was alive. It was played some years after he passed away, and it wasn't really appreciated as a fine symphony for another century or so. He made his living writing lieder, love songs and things, So now the program notes for it say this is quote unquote a holistic experience to which transcendental beauty is only the prelude. But I don't know what that means. Anyway, it sounds like interesting musicological choices, Mozart and Schubert bookending this concert. Then I want to tell you very briefly about a balletic concert taking place out in Siberia, which is on Thursday early in the day. If you're a ballet lover, on October 16th, the Tomsk Philharmonic is playing music from Adolf Adams's Giselle, with the narration of the story in Russian by a Russian presenter. And that's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon European time, because it's at 7 o'clock in the evening KRAT time out in Siberia. But the watching hours are not really very viewable. It's on 7 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. But it's very viewable on Australia for any of our Down Under followers. It'll be on at 9 o'clock in the evening in Australia. What's interesting about it is the conductor is Zakhar Nikiforov. He's a French horn specialist, but he's also a ballet music enthusiast. He conducted a live stream of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker back in April with this orchestra. The host, the presenter, in case you know Russian presenters, is Larissa Okisheva. But I'm sure that the presentation of the story of Giselle will be done in Russian. So you want to brush up on your Russian for that. Then we move on to Thursday night's offering by the Bergen Phil, which is live streaming on a regular basis these days. If you love Bruckner, well, you will love the Bergen Phil's program of 2 Bruckner motets and his 8th Symphony, with artist-in-residence violinist Isabel Faust, 3 different Grieg choirs, and principal guest conductor Sir Mark Elder at the helm. This is Bruckner, and more Bruckner. This past year was something like 150th anniversary of Bruckner. I may be wrong on the exact number, but it was one of these anniversaries. Everybody was playing Bruckner. So you may have had your fill of Bruckner, but I do not recall any of the live streams we told you about. And there must have been at least a dozen Bruckner live streams in 2024, 2025, any of them containing motets by Bruckner. And they'll be doing his Ave Maria motet and his Os Justi motet. And so that makes this one a little different. It's the Bergen Phil, and the 3 choirs are the Edvard Grieg Ungdomskor, the Grieg young people's choir, the Edvard Grieg vocal ensemble, and then vocal students from the Grieg Academy. When Norwegians bring in choirs, they really, especially the Bergen Phil, they really like to build up a big choir. So if you're a choral favorite, you'll enjoy this one. As for Isabel Faust, if you want to know what she's like, she records with Harmonia Mundi. And if you go take a look at the page on Harmonia Mundi, it's all the toughest stuff to play. It's Bach, it's Bartok, it's stuff like that. It's like she plays challenging music. So that's the kind of violinist that you're going to hear. And this is Sir Mark Elder's first appearance of the season, but he's done a lot of appearances with them as a principal conductor. And just back in September, Isabel Faust was playing the Dvorak violin concerto with this orchestra. So these are practiced hands who are going to know what they're doing. And if you love Bruckner, you're going to love this. And then we move on to Friday. We're already on to the weekend, but there's so much going on this weekend. There's just an awful lot of action going on, which I'm very happy to tell you about. It puts a premium on my being able to not take forever to tell you about things, though, or we'll be here for an hour and a half. Here's the next one. I'm very happy because it's the Gulbenkian Orchestra, which is back live streaming now. I've been waiting for them since they went offline back in June. And every week I'm looking, is Gulbenkian back or not? Because they always do high quality concerts. So there are not many viola soloists, but one of the best is Amihei Gross. And he joins the Gulbenkian Orchestra this Friday, October 17th, to play Schnittke's Concerto for Viola and Orchestra with Shostakovich's 8th Symphony filling out the bill under the baton of house conductor Hannu Lintu. That sounds interesting. If you don't know about Hannu Lintu, not only is she the conductor of the Gulbenkian, she's also the chief conductor of the Finnish National Opera. I always love conductors who also conduct opera because they must have a dramatic sense to them. She's also an artistic partner of the Lahti Symphony Orchestra. So she may be showing up in some Lahti Symphony Orchestra live streams this year too. And she's the artistic director of the International Sibelius Festival. Both of those started up just now, like in August. So for this year. Amihei Gross, he's been around for at least 30 years. He founded the Jerusalem Quartet in 1995, came from Jerusalem, I believe. And then after some time of a career as that, he became the principal violist of the Berlin Phil in 2010. So he has a sinecure now, and he's worked with top conductors like Zubin Mehta, Daniel Barenboim, Simon Rattle. He's worked with the Finnish Radio Symphony, the Warsaw Phil, the Danish National Phil. The list just goes on. And it also includes the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony out in Asia. So they'll do Schnittke's Concerto for Viola and Orchestra. And I think Hannu Lintu likes Schnittke because they did his Pianissimo a piece that's called Pianissimo last November. That was live streamed too. Like I tell you, it's all online here now. And then they do Shostakovich's Symphony Number 8 in C minor. And for Shostakovich lovers, that's just a little time in paradise. Gulbenkian. But then Friday and Sunday for new music lovers. Wow. This is going to be quite a weekend. There's a lot of new music being done, and I keep clicking on this picture to try to replace it with another one. I hope you realize that when I change these pictures, the people I'm talking about are the ones who are in the photos without my pointing out, hey, these are the ones in the photos. This next shot is of two conductors because it's the SWR Symphony Orchestra, which is, I have a prepared announcement as I always do. New music lovers, the SWR Symphony is preparing to rock your world this weekend, opening and closing the Donau Schinger Music Festival with world premieres by Marc-André, Turgut Ersaten, Imsu Choi, and Philippe Leroux on Friday, and by Naomi Pinnock, Hannah Hartman, Laura M. Hiendel, and Mirela Ivicevic on Sunday, October 17th and 19th. It's all new music. The conductor on Friday will be the guy who's the new head guy with the SWR, which is sort of the Stuttgart Symphony Orchestra, Francois Xavier Roth, and the flautist from the Paris Conservatory who became a conductor, but he's been a conductor for years now, and he had worked with the SWR Symphony Orchestra, Baden-Baden and Freiburg back in the early teens. And then he was in Köln as the Gürzenich Kapellmeister, et cetera, et cetera. And he's been the principal guest conductor of the LSO, the London Symphony, since 2017. So he knows what he's doing. I'm not going to list all the places where he's a German conductor, but he is a Chevalier of the Legion of Honor in France. And he did return that one of those terrific German record critics awards. I don't have the title of it in German, which I love to pronounce. Anyway, so they'll be doing Marc-André's In Unfolding in memory of Pierre Boulez, that he composed for the 100th birthday of Pierre. These are all world premieres. Then Turgut Ersaten's There Recedes a Silence, Faceting Beyond Enclosures. That's for clarinet and orchestra. Then they'll do, and the clarinetist is the clarinetist with the SWR Symphony Orchestra. They'll do Imsu Choi's Miro for orchestra, and then they'll do a piece by Philippe Leroux, which was commissioned by the SWR Orchestra and Radio France, called Paris Banlieue for orchestra and electronics, and that means the Paris suburbs. Wow! And then on Sunday, it's a different conductor. It's a Swiss-Australian. Don't tell me how you come up with that. Conductor Elena Schwartz, and she's one of the two conductors in residence at the Vienna Klang Forum, which specializes in new music. And she works with a lot of new music, contemporary ensembles like Musique Fabrique, the Ensemble Intercontemporain in Paris, the Ensemble Moderne, the Luzerne Festival Contemporary Orchestra. So having her do new music like this is perfect. So she'll be doing Mirela Ivicevic's piece. Let me get the titles of this. They start with Naomi Pinnock's I Put Lines Down and Wipe Them Away for orchestra. That was commissioned by the SWR. Then they'll do Hannah Hartman's Advanced Weather Information Processing System. And that's for orchestra and electronics. That was commissioned by the SWR. Then they're doing Laura M. I don't know how to pronounce it, Hiendel, a piece called The Deepest Continuity is Paradoxically That Which Continually Restarts and Renews Itself. That's for orchestra. Don't you just love the way they just give them names instead of saying Concerto Number 2? Anyway, and then they'll finish up with Mirela Ivicevic's Red Thread Mermaid for orchestra. And these were all commissioned works, the first 3 by SWR. All 4 of them commissioned by SWR. So and participating will be the SWR Experimental Studio, which I guess will do the electronics, the Symphony Orchestra, and Elena Schwartz conducting. So if you love now music, what I call now music, this is a rare occasion on Friday and Sunday to hear now music orchestrally in just a plethora of now on Friday and now on Sunday. Prenez votre pied, as they'd say in French, which is sort of saying, have a good time. Okay, that's kind of exciting. I did not expect that from Francois Xavier Roth. And maybe I should have, but I didn't. And so there you go. But it's for a special festival too. So you can sometimes get away with things at a festival that you cannot get on. But now the next concert to tell you about is like a fantastic, that's Janine Jansen there in the photo, and Simon Rattle. Wow. Superstar violinist and artist in residence Janine Jansen joins top conductor Simon Rattle in the Berlin Phil for a 20th century program of Prokofiev's Violin Concerto Number 1, along with Percy Granger's Lincolnshire Posy and John Adams's Harmonia Lehre, Saturday, October 18th. The Lincolnshire Posy is, what can I say? It's based on English folk songs, folk melodies. The Prokofiev, the Concerto Number 1 in D major, Opus 19, composed in 1923. Here's how Janine Jansen describes it, and she ought to know. She calls it a romantic, dreamy piece, but at the same time daring and virtuosic, a masterpiece. Janine Jansen, we see her all the time up in Scandinavia, playing with the Stockholm Royal Phil and the Swedish Radio Orchestra, but she also circulates around, and she plays all over the world. I'm not going to give you her CV. She needs no introduction. She's terrific. So if you like violinist, I mean, this is a chance. And then they're going to finish up with this piece by John Adams called Harmonia Lehre, which is named after a book that Schubert came out with about that 12-tone music back in 1911, which John Adams looked into, and then he decided not to do it, thank God. Anyway, apologies to all those of you who love 12-tone music. And this orchestra, the Berlin Phil, must know this piece pretty well, because Adams was a composer in residence with the Berlin Phil back in 2017, and they did this piece with Adams conducting it. So it's kind of interesting to see, well, what's Simon Rattle going to do with it? And as different from the way Adams would conduct his own piece. So another, top of the line, doesn't get better than Simon Rattle and Janine Jansen. But it does get as good, and I will tell you what's going to be just as good just in a minute. But then we move on to the next one by one of my favorite orchestras of all time, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. And they're back live streaming too this week after taking a long, and if you ask me, a too long summer break. Okay, Saturday, October 18th, the dynamic Yada Bignameni is back live streaming with the Detroit Symphony for Shostakovich's Ninth Symphony. And he will likely light up the usual fireworks working with the soloist, his countryman violinist Giuseppe Gibboni, on Wynton Marsalis's Violin Concerto. Wow, that'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time and corresponding times on the West Coast and in Europe, late at night, 2 a.m. in Europe. But whenever Bignameni, I say this every time he does it, whenever Bignameni works with a soloist, they just work like this, and it's just fireworks. I've seen it over and over again. He's terrific working with soloists. I don't know why. And this is, they're two Italians. So, and Gaboni was something of a prodigy, and he's only like 23, 24 years old, born in 2001. And he won the jury and audience prizes at the Paganini violin competition in Genoa in 2021. And he was the first Italian in 24 years to win the overall prize at that same competition. So it's a big deal. And when you put him together with Bignamini, who really knows how to work with the soloists, it's just going to be great. He, by the way, is still a student. He's studying at the Mozarteum University in Salzburg right now. But, I just love the way Bignamini conducts. And the Detroit Symphony Orchestra under Bignamini continues to be a world-class orchestra. As for Bignamini, the one thing many people may not know about him, if you just know about him from the Detroit Symphony, he is constantly going out and conducting operas. So the man has a dramatic soul. And that's the kind of conductor I love. Okay, and now another superstar. There's another superstar soloist. This is the week of superstar soloists. What can I say? This is a soloist whom I have known practically all my life. And I always think of her as the young, but neither of us are that young anymore anyway, as you can see by her gray hair there. The conductor being Christian Reif, who is young now. Grimaud came up in the 80s. Piano lovers, you're in for a great time when the divine Helene Grimaud, that lover of wolves, plays Gershwin's Piano Concerto on Saturday, October 18th with the Houston Symphony Orchestra, conducted by the spirited, globe-trotting Christian Reif from the Yevla Symphony Orchestra. Wow. They'll play, that's at 7:30 in the evening on Saturday. It's not free of charge. It's a stage plus live stream. So it will cost you €9.90. But if ever a stage plus live stream was worth $9.90, this is one, because pianists don't get any better than Helene Grimaud, not in terms of technical expertise and in terms of passion. She's just it. Okay, if I had to choose one pianist I would want to hear, it's Helene Grimaud. That's how much esteem I have for it. Give me any credit for knowing anything. Anyway, they'll start out doing Julia Perry's A Short Piece for Orchestra, which is a very lively setup. Then they do the Gershwin Piano Concerto in F, which was composed in 1925. And then they do Kurt Weill's Symphony No. 2, which was premiered just like 9 years later. It was composed in 1933. Two pieces in a world where jazz was ever present. And Gershwin came out of Broadway, which is where he started, to write classical. Weill started out writing classically and then ended up on stage more. So very interesting, but both of them are very sort of jazz-related composers. It's just, I find it lovely choices for the evening. Christian Reif is the conductor of the Yevla Symphony Orchestra, which is about an hour and a half train ride north of Stockholm. He's also the artistic director of the Lakes Area Music Festival in Minnesota, which is a very interesting music festival every summer that does a lot of live streaming, several live streams a week. He directed the youth choir for the San Francisco Symphony for a number of years. I think he must like youth choirs because just last month he was at the Ionescu Festival conducting a youth orchestra there. So you have a very lively youth-oriented one. I want to show you another picture of Helene because, and I really don't have time, we're going to go way over my 30-minute limit, and I can't help it, folks. There's just too much going on here. But what I want you to know about Helene Grimaud, this is her with wolves. She had an experience with a wolf along the way. Suffice it to say that in terms of her personality and all, Helene Grimaud came out of nowhere, and the piano and then wolves were huge factors in creating the life for her that she has lived. And here's what she says about playing the piano. She says, the tip of the needle becomes the center of your universe. You know, it's the sound. It's the center of the sound. It's the bottom of, it's everything. That's what playing the piano is to her. And she had an encounter with a wolf along the way at some point in time. And then wolves became a cause for her. And she created a foundation for the well-being of wolves, et cetera, et cetera. And when you see her, I have seen her play sometimes. And the way she moves around on that bench when she's playing reminds me of a wolf roaming through the woods. I mean, it's just, whoa. If you've never seen Helene Grimaud and heard her play, I would, if I were you, I'd recommend you pop for that $9.90 on Stage Plus. They may be offering 1 month free viewing. As a matter of fact, you may not have to pay that $9.90, and it would be worth it because they're doing a bunch of live stream this month, and you can cancel it easily. I've done it before. You can get away with getting a month free, and then you cancel when the month comes to an end, and you don't pay any more. Terrific concert. I'm not used to saying so many superlatives, and I still have several concerts to tell you about, folks. It just doesn't end yet. So we keep going. But those two, Janine Jansen and Helene Grimaud, this week, I think, are just the absolute top concerts. There are many very good ones, excellent ones, but those two are just, to me, are off the charts. Okay, next. If you're a Brahms lover, this Sunday's Boston Phil live stream was made for you. It's his Symphony No. 1, conducted by Maestro Benjamin Zander, and his Piano Concerto No. 1, under the sure hands of top pianist Alessandro Del Yavan. That's a Sunday afternoon concert, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. So here in Europe, it's very watchable at 9 in the evening. This is, this is a concert for Brahms lovers. Alessandro Del Yavan is a pianist who has repeatedly earned high praise from music critics and from symphonies that he has played with, but he's had a somewhat controversial career. It included some controversies over his participation in not one but 2 Van Cliburn competitions, and but he's recorded more than 70 albums by now, so he's been around. He won a slew of prizes in the early 2000s, all the way up to like 2009 or so, and then after that, it's just been a regular top soloist. So as for Brahms' Symphony No. 1, well, that's the one it took him 10 years to compose. And the reason was that his predecessor was Beethoven. And it took him forever to write the first. This was the bar. That's how hard the bar was set. The bar was set that high. It's, he knows he's going to be compared to Beethoven. So it took him a long time to get it right. Anyway, so that should be a fine concert. That's both of those guys will do a good job with it. And if you love Brahms, well, you're going to be in heaven with that concert. Okay, we still have a couple more things to tell you about, folks. So this continues. Denis Shapovalov. Now music lovers might want to check out Russian cellist, composer, and conductor Denis Shapovalov, playing and conducting his own works on Sunday, October 19th, including a concerto, a symphonic fantasy, and a symphony in rock style. That'll be with the Tomsk Philharmonic, so it's going to be noon European time on Sunday, 6 in the morning on the East Coast, 3 o'clock if you're up late Saturday night on the West Coast, and 8 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia, because it's at 6 o'clock in the evening in Siberia, Tomsk, Siberia. Shapovalov lives in Moscow. they'll be doing his concerto for cello and orchestra called Fury, composed in 2024. They'll be doing his symphonic fantasy, which is called Tchaikovsky Dvorak, Letter to a Precious Friend, or Pyotr Ilyitch's Dream, whatever that means. And then Shapovalov is who has also has roots in rock music, his symphony in rock style. This is he's a top Russian composer, member of the Russian Union of Composers, former winner of the Tchaikovsky competition, and he's performed with the Tomsk Philharmonic on several occasions, so he knows these folks. If you're into now music, again, here's another opportunity this week to hear totally now orchestral music. They don't come along all the time. Then finally, I want to tell you about one more thing, and I'm just going to mention it because I will do a separate live stream just to talk about this later in the week before we get to Sunday, because this is great. This is the kind of stuff I like to be able to talk about, not just orchestral works. Sunday, October 19th, the Vienna State Opera gifts us with a full production of Aram Khachaturian's ballet Kali Roa, with Madison Young as Kali Roa and Victor Kekseta as Kaireas. The choreography is by Alexei Ratmansky. The conductor is Paul Connolly. There's a list of other people besides Madison Young and Victor Kekseta, but that is what I will tell you for now. Keep track of Access Arts Live, because I will come back, as I always do, whenever the Vienna State Opera gives us a full production. I do a separate live stream on it, and I'll try to get that out by Friday at the latest, so people have a little time to see it. One last thing I want to mention before I go: the State Symphony of Russia is doing a Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky live stream on Friday. That's Friday, October 18th. At noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast. No, at 6 o'clock in the evening, in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast. And because it's coming out of Moscow at 7 o'clock in the evening there. And they'll be doing 2 concertos, which happens more and more often these days. They're doing a Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto, number 1 in F sharp minor, opus 1. And Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto number 1 in B flat minor, opus 23, and then they will also do Tchaikovsky's The Tempest, his symphonic fantasy based on the play by William Shakespeare. I just mentioned that on the side because I'm never sure. That's being live streamed by the Moscow Philharmonic. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on the YouTube link or not. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They'll list like 10 broadcasts coming up in a week, and maybe 2 or 3 of them show up on YouTube. So I hesitate to commend them to you. That's what we have for this week, folks. An enormous number of live streams, at least a dozen. And then on top of that, you're going to have your chamber music live streams, and you're going to have organ recital live streams. And this week, ongoing still, is the Chopin International Piano Competition, which is entering into the third round with 20 of the world's top young pianists competing in the third round. So we'll be putting out separate posts on that, so you can keep track of that and know who's playing when and on which days. Folks, I hope that one, more, some, or any of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. If you love now music, you've got Friday and Sunday, and you've got 3 opportunities to hear now orchestral music. Usually the now music we're telling you about, it's just, it's chamber music level, but no, this is big stage stuff. So anyway, I'll remind you again, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to us and help us build up our algorithm. And do yourself a favor, make sure that you continue to get more than 1,000 live links to live stream performances online in the coming year. We're on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. So I wish you a wonderful week of live streams now. Um, and we will put out individual clips for some of the best of these live streams I've been telling you about during the week as these things are coming up. And we will continue to do our daily post of each day's live stream performances, including both the orchestral works and the organ recitals and the chamber music. Ciao for now. I'll be back tomorrow with our roundup of organ recitals and our roundup of chamber music for this week. Thanks for tuning in.